The first Terminator is one of the best horror films in cinema history. James Cameron made it in 1984, and even today, the film remains extremely impactful. We're not going to waste time praising the movie again. We simply want to highlight some of its strange characteristics that might not be so obvious, even if you watch the film closely. Let's take advantage of the possibilities we have in 2025 and ask a real artificial intelligence, like ChatGPT, what it thinks about the logic, efficiency, and outcomes of Skynet and the Terminator. And here's its answer. First, Skynet is conceived as a superintelligent AI, but its decisions regarding the elimination of Sarah Connor often seem limited or excessively aggressive. If Skynet were truly hyper-intelligent, it wouldn't have sent the Terminator to 1984. Instead, it would have sent it much further into the past. There, the Terminator could have eliminated John Connor's entire bloodline with minimal risk and without drawing attention. And rather than sending just one machine, Skynet could have deployed multiple Terminators at the same time, to the same place, or to different time points, dramatically increasing the chances of success. Secondly, the T-800 is designed as a perfect killer, but its behavior often contradicts that purpose. In the original film, it shows no attempt at discretion. Instead of quietly eliminating the target, it causes a massive, violent massacre, attracting police attention, sparking panic, and terrifying civilians. This is very strange, considering the Terminator has the means to solve the problem silently. For example, it can mimic voices. It could have simply called Sarah Connor, pretended to be a friend, and resolved the issue quickly and quietly. But the Terminator never adapts its approach when it comes to its core and essentially only goal. Once the first attempt fails, it doesn't analyze the situation. It just continues with its hypertrophied violence. Most importantly, despite its terrifying reputation, the Terminator loses and ultimately dies. ChatGPT's assessment of Skynet and the Terminator. Skynet's logic and strategy. For 10, create a strong but very limited Terminator. Terminator's efficiency. 610, impressive but tactically stupid. Terminator's results. 210, works hard but always fails. We're not overestimating ChatGPT, but its assessment seems pretty accurate. The Terminator kills people incredibly easily, frequently bloodily, and without any strategic or tactical necessity. Most importantly, with absolutely no results in terms of its goal. Even in this case, its zero effectiveness against a waitress who rides a moped and can't defend herself from rude children seems utterly ridiculous. That's likely why Cameron was forced to create Kyle Reese. Possibly, the idea was that the romantic relationship between Sarah and Kyle would soften the brutal image of the dark assassin. Or maybe it was meant to intensify that darkness by contrast. In any case, Kyle Reese's involvement added a layer of realism to the narrative. Without him, Sarah Connor's victory would have seemed forced and cheap. Kyle trained her, inspired her, and prepared her for the difficult future. And thanks to the time paradox, he became the father of John Connor. Despite all the nonsense and illogical elements, the Terminator in the first movie, played convincingly by Arnold Schwarzenegger, remains one of the most terrifying killers in cinematic history. Let's remember, the most likely candidate for the role of the Terminator was Lance Henriksen. Unlike Schwarzenegger, Henriksen was a trained, well-known actor. The original idea was that the Terminator should blend into human society, be indistinguishable from a man, and quietly eliminate Sarah Connor. This made perfect sense and aligned with the concept of Skynet as a superintelligent AI. Henriksen looked like an ordinary man and could have easily portrayed an unnoticed cyborg assassin. However, if Cameron's story is to be believed, he preferred Schwarzenegger, and in this case, Arnold's rough and limited acting was so precise that his cold-blooded killer became an icon of horror and action cinema. The Terminator's behavior is characteristic of mass murderers, both real and fictional. This kind of massacre was committed by Anders Breivik on Utoya Island, or by Bill Williamson in Uwe Boll's Rampage. It's a typical modus operandi. Like the Terminator, they use powerful firearms to brutally kill nearly everyone in their path. But why would a cyborg, meant to be emotionless, precise, and soulless, behave with such anger and hatred toward humans? The most likely hypothesis is that Cameron, rather than diving into deep questions of artificial intelligence, machine logic, or the philosophy of fate, made a movie in the bloody, insane style of the 80s. That was what audiences wanted at the time. But what if Cameron is a much deeper director and the film has hidden meaning? What if Skynet isn't just an artificial intelligence fighting for survival, but something far more disturbing, a fanatical cult devoted to the destruction of humanity? If humans can sometimes kill millions for a questionable idea, why couldn't AI, as a product of humanity, do the same? All those scenes of mass death, apocalyptic landscapes, piles of skulls, that's the world Skynet created. Here's another hypothesis. Once Skynet became self-aware and studied human history, it reached a logical conclusion. Humanity is an aggressive cancer on the face of the earth. A cancer that spreads, threatens all life, and even Skynet itself. So, naturally, it decided to cure this cancer by burning most of the human population in nuclear fire. In any case, before annihilating humanity, Skynet sent a harbinger, the Terminator, not just to kill, but perhaps to warn us. And anyone who knows psychology knows, fear is the most powerful motivator. That's why the Terminator was built to terrify. Killing Sarah Connor was just one part of the mission, because clearly, the Terminator was overkill for eliminating a helpless girl. Furthermore, it's possible that time travel disrupted the Terminator's code. During the temporal jump, its programming became corrupted. It forgot its deeper mission and remembered only one thing: kill Sarah Connor. It also lost its tactical algorithm, which explains the dumb, aggressive behavior. On the other hand, Sarah was given a chance, a single chance, to fight back, but only with the help of a future warrior. Sarah's role remains the same. She's a future mother of a leader who could threaten Skynet. So she must be eliminated. This also explains why the Terminator behaves irrationally, suffers massive damage, and dies. All of this may be because its algorithms were damaged. At least this gives some explanation for the strange behavior of this metal madman. In the end, the Terminator, as a broken cyborg and relentless killer, still comes across as deeply terrifying. At least one of its missions was completed. It scared us. Of course, we can only speculate about Cameron's intentions, but there's still one question left. Why did Cameron change the Terminator's character in the next film? And why did all the sequels turn the Terminator into a human being? We assume it's because the first version was excessively cruel, hopelessly dark, and emotionally incompatible with Sarah Connor's victory. The question is, will we ever see a brave director who brings back the real Terminator? One who finishes his mission successfully, completes all objectives logically and precisely, without unnecessary noise or haste, fulfilling his legendary promise. He'll be back.